If there is one thing that I would change about the channel, it is that I wish I would review more lesser known indie movies. The problem, of course, is that many of these films have very limited releases, and even if they were played in my area, I sometimes find out about them way too late. However, sometimes I hear about films that really intrigue me and that I keep in mind until I finally track them down. The film I am reviewing today, And in the Apocalypse, is one such film that upon seeing the movie boy talk about, I knew I had to check out. A unique film that I can't believe exists. Let's jump into my review. And in the Apocalypse is a Christmas zombie musical film based on a BAFTA-winning short called Zombie Musical. At the beginning of our story, we meet a cast of characters, each with their typical teen problems that give you High School Musical type vibes. We have Chris, a guy struggling with the class assignment, Steph, an activist whose reports on social issues always put her toe-to-toe with the jerk-ass vice principal, John, a guy who is secretly in love with his best friend, and Anna, said best friend, who is the protagonist of the story and is at odds with her father, who does not want her to take a gap year to travel before attending university. When I say High School Musical type vibes, that of course includes the singing, as we get quite a few moments near the beginning of characters expressing themselves through song. However, if that sounds like it is not at all your type of thing, then don't worry, as the film really gains its own personality quite quickly. What starts off as a pretty typical teen drama goes in quite the interesting direction when zombies are added to the mix. From here, the film becomes a pretty unique story of not only a group of kids dealing with their own problems, but having to fight to survive as well. And yes, there is still singing throughout all of this, which, trust me, makes things so much better. Now, in case you are not already sold on it based on that synopsis alone, then allow me to discuss some things that I really enjoyed about this film. Number one, I enjoyed the unique premise. I mean, seriously, while there have been musicals that have taken the genre in an unconventional direction before, where else have you seen a movie quite like this one? It may be a popular argument to say that movies these days are unoriginal and that no one ever takes a chance at something new, but a movie like this shows that there are still fresh ideas out there. Another thing I enjoyed was the integration of music. A musical would be pretty worthless without some satisfying songs and choreography, but fortunately, this film delivers. From your more standard songs in which people express the issues they are going through, to a song that is basically a showdown between hero and villain, we get some really catchy tunes and very entertaining dance numbers. Not only that, but the songs feel internally consistent too. For instance, there's a part where some of our survivors come across some jocks doing some looting, and I thought the accompanying musical number was really well done. While it is a bit appalling to see them bashing in some heads while getting hyped at the carnage, the creative sequence makes sense, since the guys we saw being aggressive earlier would be totally treating this like a game. Speaking of which, this film has plenty of dark humor if you're into that sort of thing. In what has got to be my favorite scene of the movie, I love the part where the zombie apocalypse first strikes, and Anna, oblivious to the world around her due to her headphones, dances around, blissfully ignorant of all the chaos happening around her. From people getting mauled by zombies, to things ablazing on fire, she is just too into her song and dance to notice. I think that this scene is so well put together and it unfolds in such a funny way that I've gone back and watched it quite a few times at this point. Finally, I really enjoyed how the film blends the slice of life stuff with some pretty gnarly gore in a way that feels satisfying and meaningful. Well, I've only described the crazier stuff up to now. Believe me when I say that the film also has some deeper stuff to it. It could have just been a story of over-the-top scenes of people bashing in zombie brains, and yet, there is an actual story with some pretty likable characters to help frame everything. I mean, a big part of the story is Anna's relationship with those around her, and as you watch, you do indeed care. Will she find her dad and patch things up with him? Will John work up the courage to confess his feelings to her? Will she grow more confident in herself and her ability to decide her future? Yeah, the zombie killing is some fun flavoring to make the movie stand out, but the fact that the movie has a lot of sincerity to it as well is what ends up making it impressive. You come for and receive some over-the-top stuff, but you also get a pretty grounded coming-of-age story too. With that being said, is the movie perfect? Of course not. Some of the effects look a bit cheap, the pacing isn't always the best, and some of the characters feel a bit underdeveloped. Even Anna, despite being the protagonist, suffers from this, as we see characters always talk about how responsible she is and how she will be fine no matter what she chooses to do with her life, but don't really see any of this play out. However, with this being a pretty indie film that was working with a small budget, I think that these problems can mostly be overlooked. So in the end, if you want to see a movie with a pretty unique premise, look no further than Anna and the Apocalypse. Filled with some good music, humor, feels, and of course, zombies, this is a one-of-a-kind thing that I definitely recommend. But hey, that's just my opinion. And remember, don't take anything I say too seriously. After all, I'm just a wannabe reviewer. Thanks for watching.
We should play a game. Take your mind off it. Helps me when I'm carsick.
Because this is exactly the same.
Steph. Marry, shag, kill. Zombie Miley, zombie Rihanna, zombie Beyonce.
Kill them while they're zombies.
No, play it properly.